So, welcome. I believe we are live. This is From A to B, presented to you by Osmo.com. I am Andrew. With me is Ben, as he typically is. But you know what we got to do?
What do we need to do?
So that game we were talking about last night with Laffy, Red Dead Redemption 2, it's all
Uh,
the rage on the internet. They're coming out with an online, multiplayer mode. You and me, head to head, running around, Twitch it, you know? It'd be like that scene in Pulp Fiction, where Brett's friend is hiding in the back and he has a gun and he just comes out and sprays and misses them with
yeah, that would
11
be me.
shots. That's
Yeah,
both of us. Yeah, I can't.
it's
I
gonna
was
be
never
me.
any good at shooters. I just don't have a lot of stick skills, but
I feel like I would have been all right, but I didn't play them enough.
hmm.
And by enough, I mean never. But I do love to gamble on literally anything, so I'm sure you could coax me maybe into that. Happy Friday, as
Thank
I
you.
always say.
And to you.
Uh, we got what we're gonna do. We're gonna go position by position as we always do for NFL. Maybe we'll get in some college after the show or after the show. That doesn't make any sense. Late in the show. Um, First, I'll take a minor victory lap on those Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys, but they did win last night.
Mm. They
Didn't
did.
do me, didn't do me that good. I feel like both of us, really, I got the game script right. I had Cowboys onslaughts. I had some Saints defense. I did have more Cowboys defense, which helped. And I did good in Showdown, but man, I thought I really could have had something. And unfortunately, it's just a minor win, which was good, but kind of frustrating at the same time.
Yeah, I had one my best one was it was the same lineup as the winning one. It was in 58th, but except for one, I had Marr, the kicker, instead of Keith Kirkwood. So if he had kicked that field goal, he would have gone ahead of Kirkwood. And then the other difference was I needed him to kick that field goal at the end, and then Kamara to do something to get him past Zeke because I had Kamara captain in that. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really pick the game right. I thought that the Saints were going to crush, but from a showdown DFS perspective, I had my best of the season. I tripled up my entries, which that's they all
Yeah,
kind
and
of went right because the Saints defense, even though the Saints lost, the Saints defense ended up being a sick play, and then I had a ton of Cowboys onslaughts against it, and those were doing pretty well.
Yep. No, it was a kind of game. Not that again, it's easy to say this now, but I did think there was a grinded out feel to it, and we did see that. You know, honestly, I thought the Cowboys defense played better than they scored. They really
Yeah.
had chances to put points on the board, missed a couple turnovers. The ball was all over the place. They looked good though, obviously.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the Saints had a lot of trouble. They started to figure it out a little bit towards the end, and then stalled a couple drives. But yeah,
But
Breeze. My big argument against the Cowboys defense was Breeze doesn't make mistakes, and he did last night. They forced him into some uncomfortable positions, as you would say.
yeah, they figured out to just let Randy Gregory do the dumbest thing on the drive perpetually. That was their offense. Just Randy Gregory, again, giving them first downs.
Yeah.
And then I thought that ball was for Traquan Smith. That would have helped me immensely. He got bageled last night, I believe.
Yep.
And it comes with the territory with these Saints guys outside of Michael Thomas and Kamara and
Yes.
Ingram. But
Yeah, that was the thing is I was kind of picking off the Saints one at a time, so I had a lot of kind of just Kamara or Kamara in some minor piece, and that ended up being all right. But I mean, he left points on the board too. Whatever, it was a weird one. But I barely played Breeze. That's why I crushed, relatively. Just the problem with Showdown is tripling up isn't all that. It's not really about tripling up, right? It's about the every once in a while you need to have the massive smash. Haven't hit that yet this season. But we got a big slate this week to get to, so we should probably get into it. First thing, though, do want to mention, as a gift to everyone, we have 24 days of giveaways for supporting Osmo.com and all of our content. We're giving something away every day of December through Christmas Eve. For this first week, one person gets a free NFL membership for the rest of the season that includes all of the rankings for every slate, ownership projections, all the stuff we've got behind the paywall. All you have to do is click the like button below, which we appreciate you doing anyway, and then comment whatever you want them to comment, and you're entered to win. You can get an entry for every show we have on the air, so pop in all over the place. Just like the video and comment whatever you want them to comment for your chance to win these 24 days of giveaways. Ben, whatever do we want them to comment? That's for us to do. Just as whatever you want them to comment. What should we have them comment? Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, I want only Red Dead Redemption stories. No, don't do that. Well, we'll see. We'll get creative with it. How's that?
It's not good because we're asking them to do it right now. So you got to
okay. Something. Well, we want you to comment with. Do you want to make it a DraftKings related thing?
Sure.
Team. All right. How about this? How about your Super Bowl matchup? How's that?
Oh, I like that. Yes.
So we want, who do you think is coming out of the NFC and the AFC? Drop in that matchup and you'll be in the running and hopefully get some free stuff. It's the season of giving, so we'll have some fun with it.
Yeah, that's free NFL package for the rest of the season. So like the thing and comment on the YouTube channel your Super Bowl matchup. Thanks.
Easy enough.
It is. All right, let's get into this. We got a lot of stuff, so we'll start off with QB. Highest projection by a mile is Pat Mahomes. He's very expensive, though. There's some primo plays on this slate, so that is one option you could go with. I think the overwhelming chalk is going to be Jameis and Cam, right, in the Tampa Bay, Carolina potential shootout. Got some other guys I like, but I don't know. What do you make of the? I think those are your three most popular quarterbacks, at least.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Carolina Bucks game I mentioned in my article as a game to target. Obviously, like it's not. It's easy to see that the Bucks defense is atrocious. The Panthers are playing atrocious. They're giving games away. You know, the Bucks move the ball, they turn it over. It's just always fantasy goodness. So Cam's gonna be wildly popular. I get it. I want to say like, oh, you know, it makes Mahomes sneaky, and it does. But man, that $1,000 is going to come in handy elsewhere. So I'm not opposed to allocating it there. I totally get that. But it's not as simple as, well, you're going to get the ownership discount. And you are. But he is on an island, and I'm just not sure that he's far and away when you have – it's not like he just has to beat Cam. There's a multitude of quarterbacks who are, you know, $1,000+ cheaper than him. I have a feeling a couple of them will at least level out with him, if not exceed his points.
Yeah, I think so too. The trouble that you're going to worry about there as well is that if they just absolutely blow him out, right? Like, they should kill him. Oakland's awful. Yes. Not that Mahomes can't do some stuff first. And there is the, like, he's got a chance at the records. So there is potentially a narrative of, do they let him go after those records? We'll see. But who has so Brady broke Manning's 10 years ago. Did Manning break it again? I can't even remember.
Yeah, I think he did, but
I think so too. Like the first season in Denver when he could still throw. Yeah, I think it's 50 or 51. 51, I think. But whatever, that record is going to fall every 5 years for the next however long. Like, which is
passing becoming. I mean, obviously, it's going to be crazy what's happening. Looking down, though, you got, you know, Deshaun Watson right next to Jameis, somewhat interesting.
Yeah. That's my favorite tournament play.
Yeah, and it's funny. That's one of those, you know, the Browns are playing well. I totally get that side of it. But Watson seems a little healthier. Obviously, Demaryius Thomas, not that he's filling the Fuller void. You can't, but they still have a pretty good attack. Lamar Miller's running well to keep them balanced. But at the end of the day, Deshaun Watson will go. You know, the Texans will go as Deshaun goes. So in a game like this, I think the upside is always through the roof with a guy like that.
Yeah, I sort of argued this last week, but I kind of want to reiterate that I think that, yeah, Fuller, you know, Demaryius Thomas and Fuller are very different players at this point, but Demaryius is a better player than Will Fuller. Like, let's be clear about that. And I think he's better for their offense, specifically because their offensive line stinks. And you don't need, you know, several seconds in the pocket for Demaryius to spring open. You do for Will Fuller because when he's open, it's because he just races past everyone downfield. Demaryius does other things. So
yeah, I mean, Will Fuller kind of is who he is, and it's nice to have that on one side, but he only does kind of what he does. Demaryius is a little more dynamic.
Yeah. And it's great, having that guy. Like if next year they have all three of them, that could be pretty wild because like having the floor spacer, right? That's what Will Fuller does. Is he pulls those even the safeties that aren't like specifically, dealing with being the help on the deep route, like it still pulls them a step or two back if that guy's just like running off, and that can create a little bit more separation so that you can get the underneath throws working. But yeah, I really do. I like Deshaun Watson quite a bit against Cleveland, who's good, but like a decent defense. But that game I think could shoot out a little bit overall.
Yeah, I can see that game. That's one I'm interested in a lot of different angles from it, including the Texans D. We'll get there. But other than that, for quarterback, it looks like Flacco is now doubtful once again.
Mm-hmm.
You could go to Lamar Jackson, but I'm going to bring up one other guy. Same game. He is going to be, I would say, pretty low owned, and I get it because it's a brutal matchup. But I'm going to Matt Ryan in the Dome against the Ravens defense.
I like that call. I hadn't really. He's not popping projection wise, clearly, but man, that's not a terrible one. I mean, again, his projection is not significantly different from other people in his price range. Quarterbacks are all somewhat similar, but yeah, he's got a lot of upside for sure. Like they can put up some crazy points in the Dome. Baltimore is a good defense, but like there aren't, even compared to last year, like defenses just aren't doing what they did. There's no Jaguars out there this year that's just gonna.
No, it's very difficult. And Matt Ryan at home I know it's not against caliber defenses like the Ravens. He's had some monster games this year. This is a game they need, and he's not going to be popular. He gets a discount because they're playing the Ravens. I think they move the ball effectively. The Ravens defense, like you just said, it's a good unit, but it's not one of those where it's like, okay, I can't target guys against them. You absolutely can. And if I can pair up him and Julio for, under 20% total, I'm absolutely buying.
Freaking Tevin Coleman is down to 4,500. We're going to have to deal with this.
There are options on the Falcons this week in a game that I again, at home, I don't really worry about the defense that they're playing.
Yeah. I do like Lamar Jackson this week too. Like he's a guy, I'd rather run him naked. But yeah, he's running a lot and he's good at it. So certainly in play there. Jalen Ram. What?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say Jalen Ramsey is doubtful, or not doubtful, questionable, potentially missing on Sunday. Jaguars are cooked. Andrew Luck is good. I think that will get lost a little bit. So I'm mildly interested in Luck. I don't think like the Jaguars are like it's not like you ignore that they're still a good defense. You know what I mean? But
they're just cooked though. Like their offense is now in shambles.
Yeah.
No Fournette, Cody Kessler. It's hard to trust them at any point now.
Yeah. But yeah, Luck potentially a little bit interesting there.
We did have a question for Chad, and I think it's good to just ask it right at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
Michael was wondering, because this slate, there's a couple of games where we got the Chiefs, the Rams. Do these giant spreads worry you? Like in terms of targeting a guy like Mahomes or a guy like Gurley?
Yeah, they do. And I think we'll get into that a little bit. But it's almost nice in some ways because like it means you don't have to just like go all out and stack the game. There's a lot of the like Rams games. It's like, oh shit, like I needed to play 4 of them. I don't think you're gonna have to do that this week. The Chiefs are extra wild too because with Sammy Watkins out, there's just more work to go around for everyone else. So like, we're gonna get into each of them in the positions, but like, there are arguments for Hunt, Hill, and Kelsey. Like those are all primo plays. But I don't think you need them all together. It's not like a full Chiefs onslaught is really necessary this week. Is that where you would lean? I just think if it's a blowout, somebody's going to do something, but it's probably not like they don't necessarily need to keep their foot on the gas for 4 quarters.
No, it's a fine line. I don't have a strong opinion. Like I like Gurley a lot this week. We'll get there. I'm not going to soften that just because I think the Rams win possibly 45-10. Like, yeah, maybe they call off the dogs, but we don't know how they got there. There are many situations where guys can be a part of the blowout, and even at sky-high price tags, it can work out. So tiebreakers, little things, it's not ideal. With 13 games on the slate, it makes, stacking even less viable, in my opinion. I'm not saying don't
Right.
pair up anything, but the thought of having a team where like 4 options get you there in a giant field tournament is almost unfathomable to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like individual plays. I really like a lot of the Rams. I really like a lot of the Chiefs. I'm not all that interested in playing a ton of them together.
Yeah, agree.
Cool. Fun question before we move on. So I think that about wraps it up for QB. Jameis and Cam are your cash options, I think. And then I don't know. I personally am pretty into Deshaun for tournaments. Don't mind luck. Lamar Jackson's fine, etc. But did you see this question from Ricky Geiger?
Yeah, that's a great question. Those are the kind of questions we encourage on this show.
Exactly. This is right in our wheelhouse. If the Chiefs got the ball on their own 25 every time on a neutral field in a dome against Oklahoma's defense, that's the University of Oklahoma, I'm assuming, not the Oklahoma Thunderballs.
They'd be better off going against the Thunder.
I was making up an Arena Football League team, but yeah, that's even better. Yeah, against the Thunder. What would you set the line at in drives before they don't score?
Well, it depends. So I'll say this: if they knew they had to score, like if they knew and they could go vanilla, I honestly think it could be in the 20s, maybe. I really do. Like, it might even be more. Oklahoma's defense is the worst college defense I've ever seen for a team that's actually good.
Right.
If they just wanted to, if they didn't go, like the only thing that could happen is Mahomes could throw a pick or fumble. That's all I'm worried about.
But if they knew they had to score, Mahomes would never touch the. I mean, he'd hand the ball off every time.
That's what I'm saying.
An NFL offensive line against a trash college defense, they're just gonna get 12 yards of carry over and over. It's until Kareem Hunt fumbles the ball or they muff a handoff or something.
Or Tyreek Hill, like when they wanted to, they could just throw it over the top to him. After like 8 consecutive Kareem Hunt gashes, it would be a beatdown. Not a beatdown. They would score for a long time.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny.
Good question, though.
Yeah, excellent.
Any other quarterbacks before we move on? I don't really see much. I'm not going to say that I like Jeff Driscoll's down there. I get it if someone wants to go there. I personally don't. Yeah, he can run a little. They're at home. But again, it's very hard to peg that kind of production. Josh Allen got a price bump. I'm not going to go there, even though he's the man. So I keep it pretty vanilla. Attack that mid-range. Like, give me Matt Ryan for $1,000 more than Jeff Driscoll.
Yeah, I think that is definitely what my inclination would be as well. Case Keenum question. Playable in cash, I'm not sure about, but I do like the Broncos quite a bit in tournaments. They are showing up.
I played Keenum last week in a spot that I thought was really sneaky. Didn't work out perfectly. I paired him up with Sanders a lot. I wouldn't go there in cash, to be honest, unless you really think you can get by punting it. I'm not doing that, but I get the play as a whole for sure.
Yeah, I certainly do too. That's nice. He's what, 4,900? Like, that's some pretty sick savings, but I'd prefer to do that in tournaments myself.
Where's Keenum? No, I can't find him. He is 5,200. So again, it's a nice price tag, but I'm just going to keep harping on $400 to give Matt Ryan at home. I would do that. Even Stafford is right there in the conversation, not for cash, but for a tournament. I'm not saying I'm not going to have at least a little Stafford.
Yeah, I'm going to have some too. We're going to deal with this more in the wide receiver section, but Aqib Talib is back.
I know.
Yeah. So that is, and the Lions are bad offensive line and bad skill position players.
Can confirm.
They have terrible wide receivers at this point. I mean, they have one real wide receiver and then a bunch of dreck because they traded or hurt everyone else. Yeah, it's a real bummer. Whatever, we'll deal with Showdown later, but it's a bummer that the epic battle of Ben versus Phil is Sunday night. Those are, honestly, in cash, those are probably, over the years, the 2 guys I've played the most. But whatever. My boy, Russell Wilson, a little expensive. That's the
Yeah,
struggle for me.
and that's the kind of game, Mike had mentioned about blowouts. That's a game where I'm not saying it blows out more than the others, but Seattle, with their stable of running backs, it's a game where I wouldn't be stunned to see Russell Wilson not run at all. And
Yeah.
they just control that game with Davis, with Carson, and at home against the Niners. That's a tough
San
one.
Francisco's so bad. And
Awful.
the ownership argument is certainly real because it's going to be a huge difference. But optimally, the $300 more to get to Cam is not even close.
Yep.
All right, running back. Top play is going to be. I mean, the most popular play is going to be Christian McCaffrey. What do you
Yep.
think? What do you think of that guy?
Yeah, he's pretty good, but I wrote, check out my article on the site. It is up, and I do think that this is the thing. You got people. Christian McCaffrey went nuclear. Saquon has just been outrageously good. They are both significant. Barkley $1,400, Christian McCaffrey $500 cheaper than Todd Gurley, who has been on a bye, and then the week before that he burned everyone when he got nicked up in Showdown. And it wasn't like he got hurt to the extent people saw it. He was just bad. This is a spot where I am making a priority to go get Gurley if I pay up at running back. I think you're going to get an ownership discount because of this recency bias. He had a week to rest, and I think it's all systems go, even against this somewhat improved Lions run defense.
Right, the Lions' run defense is good, but
I don't.
whatever, they're going to kill him if they're
Yeah,
up.
I don't think that matters with a guy like Gurley, honestly.
No, and if they're up 28-7 at halftime, like they're gonna salt it away with him. The one thing I would worry, if like they're killing him and then the Lions are stacking 8 in the box, like it could, he could get 20 carries for 40 yards in the second half. Like I agree that he is sort of game script proof because if they're trailing, he catches the ball as well as anyone as well now. But no, I like the Gurley play a lot. I certainly like it more than McCaffrey, which is kind of surprising. I may go to I don't know, in an odd hedge. I may end up on like McCaffrey and cash. We'll see what happens, but
yeah, it's nothing against those guys, but we've just fallen into a situation where these guys they're at the height of their prices and popularity, and Gurley he's not at the lowest in terms of price, but in popularity. And if you look, I mean, besides that game, he's still the guy who was returning 30 basically every week. If he's healthy, and I don't see any indication that he's not, this just seems like a spot where I'm going to just take Gurley, and I'll live with that outcome in a potential, I think, sneaky spot. And you cannot say that about Todd Gurley too often.
No, you certainly cannot. And they should beat the crap out of him. Saquon Barkley, and get used to this. This is going to be a common theme. The Giants are cheap. They are really getting priced for their matchup against Chicago, which is a tough one, but it's not that tough. He's 7,900. This guy, like, who's stopping Saquon Barkley? You know what I mean?
This is what I'm talking about, though. See, my first thought there, again, is just Gurley. Like, because people see this, and Saquon, and I get it, especially if the heat is coming down on Eli. That's the best game script. Obviously, the nicest with Saquon is when he's scoring like 5 touchdowns. But throw that out. I think the best game script is when Eli is legitimately giving him 13 targets that are all 1 yard. Like, that is what this game should be. So I totally get it. I'm going to have some Saquon. I just don't know how feasible it would be to pair up 2 of these 3 guys.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Because Hunt, I also think, is really a nice play. He's a pricey running back as well. I think Kansas City should beat the crap out of Oakland, and that could be good for him. There's just a lot of these blowout running backs that are expensive, but certainly in decent spots. Speaking of Saquon, I actually kind of prefer, for tournaments anyway, he doesn't project particularly well because of the weird workload split, but Tariq Cohen on the other side, I think there's just so many options to choose from, and it's going to be Chase Daniel again this Sunday, so I don't think people will go for the Bears offense, but man, the Giants defense is really bad, and it's going to be Alec Ogletree that gets stuck covering Tariq Cohen, and he is like the worst coverage linebacker in football. He's awful. And Tariq Cohen's terrifying in space, so
yeah. I mean, I'm on that. I see that. Obviously, the volume is a thing with him, but you don't need it with a guy like that. It's more about, is he going to catch a long touchdown or break a long run?
Yeah. Does he
Um,
Kamara one?
yeah, Kamar, he's in that bucket. Philip Lindsay's right there, who another guy. Not that his volume isn't great, but no, really,
I hate Philip Lindsay.
I'm not a fan of him myself, but he's pretty damn good. Really effective running the ball, and now they get Cincinnati is just a mess. It
Yeah.
really is a dumpster fire right there. So I like Philip Lindsay this week. I think he's slowly, similar to what I said about Kerryon Johnson, they're slowly turning the keys over to this guy. Like, I like Royce Freeman. Obviously, Booker's okay. But this should be a Philip Lindsay 15 to 20 carried game. If he gets that, it's not like he's immune. He took a 0 in receptions last week. That's an outlier. Price isn't really adjusting for this guy, so I'm going to continue to target him.
Okay.
He's been low-key pretty damn good.
Yeah, and he doesn't. I mean, his projection's fine. Like, I don't know. I struggle with that guy himself for whatever
No,
reason.
that's fair.
Probably because he's undrafted and tiny, but whatever happens to people.
He's good though.
Yeah, he is.
Couple things from chat all over the map. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Rondale Moore. He's very, very good, but he's very, very. I think he's a little small. He reminds me kind of Tavon Austin. Just first gut instinct.
Who?
This guy, a freshman receiver on Purdue.
Oh, okay.
Really good.
I was like, I have no idea who that is, and I'm on a show talking about these guys. I hope that's not a play.
No, you don't have to worry about him for a couple of years. Will we see backup running backs on playoff teams play more? I think we will, but not just yet. It's pretty early for teams to, if guys are nicked up or, like Melvin Gordon, I wouldn't be stunned for them to be extra cautious. But all in all, I don't think until the last couple weeks will we see people sitting just to sit.
Well, and the buys aren't decided yet either. So, like, people are still fighting for those 1 and 2 seeds.
Absolutely. No one is locked into anything.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the Saints losing last night's a big deal because they had the tiebreaker on the Rams because they beat them earlier, and now they're a game behind them. So
no, it's all in flux. And obviously the Chiefs, Patriots, still, everybody is still – these games are important.
Yeah. There is also the Jacksonville running back situation. I don't know how much they split. Like, they're both sort of fine plays, I think, like projection-wise right now, even with sort of big-time splits. Hyde hasn't played a whole lot for them. But Yeldon's 4.4, Hyde's 3.3. Like, those are crazy price tags. One of them should be able to pay that off. I'm going to keep looking for news there and see if it seems like it's leaning one way or the other. But because you do need some value.
Well said. Again, if you check out my article, I have a key question each week, and it was what to do with the Jaguars, and specifically the running back situation. And honestly, my answer was the same as yours. I want to go there. I'm going to dig for news if we can get some type of work share or what they want to do. Is it going to be Hyde assuming a Fournette light type role and Yeldon takes the receptions? I think it's like that in theory, but if Hyde doesn't get the carry work, it's going to be hard to go there. And Yeldon is priced a little much if he's kind of the backup still. So it's a weird situation, but on a slate that's somewhat devoid of crazy value, I think it's a situation I'm definitely going to monitor.
Yeah, me too. I like Jalen Richard for value as well. I've kind of just casually been playing him here and there, and he hasn't hurt a whole lot. He's not like a slate breaker, really, but I don't think he'll be popular, and like he should, I think it's pretty easy for him to catch 8 dump-offs in this game, especially if they get destroyed.
No, I mean, this is as good of...
I was casually paying attention to the chat, and Ricky Geiger mentions that the guy walked into the weight room at 5'9", 175 and benched 600. He meant squatted. That's still crazy, but benching 600,
there's some good...
that'd be wild.
There's some dudes.
His arms are like 4 inches long if that happens.
Yeah,
no, it's true. Have you ever seen like the professional weightlifters? Like they're tiny arms because a big part of it. Like basketball players are not good bench pressers because what makes you good at basketball is having crazy long wingspan.
Yeah, Mo Bamba's not exactly.
Kevin Durant legendarily could not put up 225 once at his combine.
It's true. That's when I was sure that he wasn't going to be good.
That's when people stopped going to combines.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, Jalen Richard, this is a perfect, obviously, game script. Oakland is garbage. Uh, we'll get there. I have another guy in Oakland that I'm actually not super opposed to getting into, but I get that. Nothing else really struck me in terms of looking down. I mean, we'll have to see with the Jags. Tevin Coleman. I'm not going to chase Lamar Miller. I get that you can attack the Browns on the ground. I'm still a little, Alfred Blue got some decent work. It was just Lamar Miller broke off that monstrous 95-yard touchdown.
Yep, that is true.
Anything else before we get to receiver?
Chris Carson. Don't hate it.
Yeah. Okay, I see that.
Slip about $5,000 just in a Seattle blows them out kind of situation. I think that's what they'll try to do.
And I think they'll be able to do it at home. I really do.
Yep. Just another value guy that sort of caught my eye.
Keep an eye on, the Ravens are another one. I don't know what they're doing in their backfield these days. Gus Edwards is banged up. Alex Collins was hurt. We got to wait and see on that.
Oh, speaking of that, your favorite player is back for Atlanta's Falcons.
Who? Deion Jones?
Deion Jones is going to play this week.
Oh, wow. That actually does help them. Too bad. It's the Ravens. I don't know if he's going to utilize. The Ravens' non-Lamar weapons are so hurt by him, obviously. Like, I would love to recommend Smokey, but it's tough.
Yeah. He's the most interesting because, like, Lamar Jackson can, he's still got a good arm. Like, he could throw a long one, and you just hope he connects. But,
I think the Falcons win this game convincingly for what it's worth.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the Ravens aren't very good. That was a myth.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's take a look here. Receiver, you start at the top. Yeah, your boy Tyreek, 91. Then you got Hopkins, Evans, Thielen. God, we haven't had to deal with him in a long time. Devontae Adams, Odell, Julio. I'm more likely to pay up at running back than these guys. I don't see that much. They're all in play, of course. Honestly, Julio for me at sub 8K is one of the guys I'm most interested in terms of the studs.
Say that again. Sorry, I got distracted because my phone was blowing up because we have a private chat with our co-hosts that were, I don't know, whatever.
What has happened?
Dan and Adam are talking about celebrating Christmas.
There we go. No, I was just simply saying, the wide receiver, the top guys, as much as, of course, they're always in play, I'm way more prone to pay up at running back. Honestly, like Julio, where is he here? He is he's the 7th most expensive receiver. I like him, if not, kind of more than the rest of them.
Okay. I think this is kind of back to a classic, my old mantra was you fade Tyreek Hill when he's chalk. He's going to be chalk this week. He's 9,100, so, like, as much as I also have said a lot this year, like, oh my, Oakland is so old and slow in the secondary, and they have no pass rush, so there's plenty of time. Like, you can toss bombs on him. If Tyreek Hill scores a 75-yard touchdown, you're fine. Like, if you faded him. He's 9,100. Like, he's going to have to do that twice. I mean, seriously, for him to break the slate, you need 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, he doesn't pile up the catches like other people do. So
no, you're legitimately worried that he catches 3 50-yard plus touchdowns, which against Oakland, if there was a team to do that, yeah, it's in play.
It would be more helpful if Oakland had any kind of offense to, like, go back at them, but
yeah, we talked about Kareem a little. We can jump right back there. I think we both like him. Obviously this matchup with Oakland, they're going to be able to do whatever they want, and he's going to be involved not only in the pass, clearly he'll be involved on the ground too. I still, you've got Saquon, C-Mac, and Gurley right above him, so I can't say I'm prioritizing him because I'm not, but I will have a healthy amount just because I don't want to get burned by him.
A healthy amount of yeah, okay. I like Con. I think I like him a little more than you do. I'm pretty into him this week.
I think so too.
Because I think
I'm not. I mean, if I canceled the field with him, I would be okay with that. I just don't want 0 because he has 35 upside and then I'm toast.
Yep. We'll see how it goes. I feel like you and I tend to disagree on him a lot. There's been a few weeks where you've loved him this year.
He's been a guy. He's been, not that this means anything, but I've gotten him more right than wrong this year. He's been good to me. Chiefs are tough because they're going to score, but they have legitimately, as you said, 3 superstar options, all who are capable of completely taking over the offense.
Yeah. And that doesn't even account for probably top 5 quarterback in the league, Pat Mahomes, That's a 4th superstar. Probably top 5. Would you put him there yet, buddy?
Are you serious?
Yeah. I'm going to make you answer that question on air.
No, I would not put him there. He's playing like the top 1 right now, though, so good for him.
Yeah.
But I'll put it like this, when we'll say, I'm not trying to make hot predictions, but they better hope they get home field advantage, because if they don't, I don't know about that team. But we will see. It's a long way away, and he's great. And I like Mahomes. I know everyone thinks I absolutely hate him. I really don't. He's awesome to watch.
Yeah. People all think I hate him too because I'm like, yeah, he's the fourth or fifth best dude at this point. Like that's like sacrilege. I've really warmed up to him, but yeah, he's not as good as the real dudes. Yeah, at real football, he is his own tier at fantasy.
What do you think about Thielen? That was the one guy I wanted to bring up to you.
Well, he plays more in the slot. The Vikings mostly play the sort of slot stuff. And like we've talked about I think a lot of it rides on, and this is being mentioned in the chat, a lot of it rides on whether or not Diggs plays. Because Diggs is why Thielen does so well. Teams pay more attention to Diggs than they do to Thielen. So Diggs is going to be the guy that either gets Gilmore or he's going to get who's this number 2, like Eric Rowe or something like that. I don't know. He's probably
That's your account.
Yeah, I should know that. William Jackson or J.C. Jackson. Sorry, William Jackson's on the Bengals. Whatever. It's going to be him and McCourty or Gilmore solo on Diggs a lot. That helps Thielen quite a bit.
I definitely agree with that. You want Diggs in there because the Patriots, they're one of the more famous. They're the type of team that will just say, you know what? We'll just take Thielen away. If there's no Diggs, we'll shut down Thielen and we'll make the running game beat us.
Yep.
And they can do that if they truly want to.
Yeah, and the other McCourty is not like a super slouch. He's playing most of the slot corner stuff, and they'll give him some help. Slot corner is very difficult to play. That's why Thielen gets the crazy separation and all that because those routes are very difficult to cover. So yeah, I like Thielen a lot more if Diggs plays. But I'm not really forcing either of them, to be honest.
No, I don't know. I'm Thielen's a guy I want to look to. Him and Devontae Adams are guys. I think I know what I want to do with them. Not gonna make me or break me. Take some shares. Obviously, the Packers have a soft matchup. Adams, he's gonna work against Peterson, but I don't even worry about that. He gets peppered with so many targets. I think those are guys I want some exposure to in terms of the top tier, but nothing crazy at the same time.
Yep. Like that. So Kenny Golladay is like the pretty clear top projection right now, but part of that is because the Rams defense has been really bad. Will it stay bad with Talib back? He's supposedly not going to be, he's got to be limited, right? He can't be all the way healthy. So I think there was a report that he was limited, so we'll see. But it definitely helps them a lot to get him back, to have another adult in the room.
No doubt. But at the same time, Galladay's getting there on pure may be inefficient volume, but he might get 15 targets.
Yeah.
It felt like Thanksgiving. He had I don't want to say it's a floor game, but it seemed like he did nothing, and he still was, almost caught a touch. He was right there.
Yeah.
And he had 90 yards anyway.
And that's against the Bears, which is an even better,
harder match.
Even better defense. They have 3 amazing cornerbacks.
How many college teams would beat the Cavs if they had LeBron? Maybe 1, 2.
Yeah, that's your.
What do you think? That's tough.
I have no idea how that works. I don't know how good the college guys are. I will tell you, if you put LeBron on Western Dominion Tech,
What you think
they would be the favorites to win the national championship, right?
I've thought about that before. Like LeBron on like Alcorn State, who's like one of the worst. Uh, I don't think so, to be honest.
I mean, I guess the real question is how many of those college teams are like running NBA style offenses where they just bomb threes the whole time? Because in that case, like LeBron can't score enough to keep up with them. You know, even if he's getting 2 points every single time he goes down the lane, which he would. I don't know. That was probably a stupid assessment on my part anyway, because he's like 34. He can't just like take every possession in an entire game.
Guys, with the one and done rule being gone, like there are pros in college. Like not that they're great, but like guys on Duke would be contributing in the NBA right now. They got 4 of them against LeBron and guys who were not college athletes. It would be tough.
Yeah.
But
all right, we gotta keep moving on this. I do think your boy Ellington is pretty.
You love this guy.
No, I don't. I love the volume, and he's been the guy in line for the volume the last few weeks. And the Rams are bad over the middle of the field. They are. Sorry.
I tried to play TJ Jones, and it didn't really work. I keep waiting for that to work.
Yeah, I've tried that twice now too. I played him in cash 2 weeks ago, the first week.
Thank God I didn't do that. No, I mean, someone as bad as Stafford and the Lions have been, they're going to be throwing. I'm going to throw out one absolute bozo. It's maybe a guy you honestly certainly have never heard of, for at least unless it's recent. Marcel Aitman. He is on the he's he's from college. I obviously knew him a little. Marcel Aitman, he is one of the new Raiders weapons on the outside. Young guy, seen 15 targets in the last 2 games. He had 10 last week. Sub 4K. And it's basically just out of necessity. They have Seth Roberts. Jordy is banged up. That's about it. This guy's going to get a lot of looks. Now, can he turn it into something? I have no idea. But I'm definitely going to have some. I think he's the kind of guy for the Raiders. This is the exact type of person they want to get involved. He's young. They want to see if he's part of the future. And he showed some promise in the last couple of games.
Okay. We'll see what happens there. What market share do I have this guy for? I have him at like 18% of the market share.
Okay.
And still was not popping in my projections, but I may have to look into that because sometimes guys fall through the cracks when they come out of nowhere.
He came out of real nowhere.
And I don't have proper stats on their like what percentage of catches they have. So I've occasionally had dudes where it's like, this guy's projected for 62 receiving yards. Oh, and 0 catches because I don't have a catch percentage for him. So I will look into that afterwards.
He's only been active for 2 weeks. And it's worth saying he had 10 targets last week and he had 3 catches.
Okay.
But the looks have been there, and he's a big, a bigger type. He's not like a gadget guy.
Yeah.
I could see that being somewhat effective against the Chiefs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just so for people to know, like sometimes there are guys, the way that my projection system works is like it's dividing up like where, what percentage of targets and touchdowns each player is going to get, but it's done algorithmically. Like I have my thing sort of set up so that when I feed a bunch of data into it, it will spit something out. So like Marcel Aitman is in my system. Still doesn't necessarily mean I've heard of the guy.
Yeah, he was a monster in college. Like he's from the Oklahoma State. They got the Dez, Justin Blackmon. He was another one. Like big receivers.
Okay.
He was very good. So
a little Lefelian.
Yeah, I mean I do think that this guy could A, be effective this week, and B, be a real player in the NFL. So we'll see. Okay. Anyone else in terms of cheapies?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions on cheapies. We've got now that Deshaun Jackson is out, we've got the Godwin Humphreys roulette to play.
Fun.
Godwin is a little more stable. He's the outside guy. He'll be out there for more snaps, but Humphreys is going to have easier targets. But Jameis fucking sucks. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
I think you said it well, that Humphreys, easier targets, better situation. Godwin out there more, I think a better, objectively player. I'm going to have a little of both. I don't, it's very tough to peg their production. Godwin's been somewhat of an after. Humphreys has had some big games recently, so it's not like the ownership's going to be. They're both going to get a massive bump because of this, and it's a great game to target. I think you see how your lineups develop and play them. I don't mind either. I think you want to have both if you're building enough lineups for sure.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think it's a good idea to take a massive stand on one or the other because, I mean, there's a real good chance that both of them disappoint. You're
coin flipping two guys and it's not. You just said it. It's not an either or.
Right.
Like it's not like if Godwin busts, Humphreys has a huge game or not. Like it's the Bucs offense. It's not that kind of production where it's plug and play. And G-Jax has been somewhat of a disappointment lately anyway.
Mm-hmm. Another bit of a coin flip is the two Rams, Cooks and Woods. Cooks, I would imagine, sees more Darius Slay, who's a good player, but he's not that good. He's not one of those corners where he's so good that you're actively scared off. He can make some plays, but he's beatable too. Cooks is really fast. I think I like Cooks more for tournaments. Probably not getting to either in cash, but if I were to play one, it would be Woods.
I'm with you. It feels like a Woods week. Every week it's very difficult, but I genuinely, and maybe I picture them wrong, but I always think of Cook's a little more boom bust. You're hoping for longer touchdowns where Woods works a little underneath. They get him involved in the running game sometimes. I feel safer with him, but obviously Gurley is going to be the Ram that I try to get in most.
Yep, like that. And I like Manny Sanders quite a bit. I like him for cash. That's sort of the mid-range wide receiver. Him and Galladay, I think, are probably both fine. That's kind of what I'm doing in my initial ideas for where my cash builds are. Just to play kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I used him last week in cash. He was good. Yeah. Last guy, Corey Davis. No?
No, your Jets are the respectable defensive unit.
No, I know they are, but it's more so not a knock on the Jets. It's a knock on. I think he's better than a mid $5K price tag.
Yep.
He gets involved. He made the most of his targets last week. I just worry if the Titans play really methodically, and if they get out, he could be quiet. But I'm gonna have some. I still think the upside is there. If the game somehow opens up a bit, Mariota will look to him, and he's a very talented player. We've seen him flash some big upside.
Yeah, that's fine. I think he'll be kind of popular, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he's going to be, unheard of. The other guy right there who probably will be more popular is DJ Moore.
I was thinking that Corey Davis comes in, plus or minus a couple percent on 10%.
Yeah.
Which I can live with that. If he creeps up into the teens, that's not ideal. DJ Moore, yeah, I get that, but I'm going to probably short that, to be honest.
Yeah, there's just too many mouths there. It's very easy for him to not. There's not a lot of guarantee in the volume, so tough one for me. I don't mind, Kuti has come quite a bit down in price, and I like Deshaun Watson a lot, so I will have some Kuti and Hopkins, and, I think Demaryius is in play. I will be stacking the Texans quite a bit with two of the three of those three guys. OBJ is very cheap, too, along with the other Giants. Sterling Shepard is very cheap, too, along with the other Giants. And it's just... So the combination that they got all their prices pulled down quite a bit because of Chicago, and then the fact that Evan Ingram is out, which in theory increases all of their workloads a little bit, has all three of those guys popping a bit. In projections, I don't think they're bad plays. The ceiling games are going to be tough against Chicago, but you can still grind out value. If it's an ugly slate, I think there's a good chance. But with 13 games on the main slate, something's going crazy. So it's a little scary.
Tough. Yeah, I think that's well said. Last guy,
there's a real good chance that OBJ gets 23 points and it's not even close to helpful. You know what I mean? I feel like that's.
I feel like Saquon could be in a similar bucket.
Yeah.
And in certain teams, I'll take that from it. It just depends on what you're really looking for in that given team. It's tough to imagine someone really breaking through against the Bears in a monster way like that.
I feel like that happened a few times early in the year where it was oh, cool, I got all of my $7,500 receivers scored 25 points, and it's oh yeah, but this Alvin Kamara scored 48 or whatever.
I mean, there were weeks where 200 did not cash.
Yeah.
Stupid. Last guy, so I mentioned in chat, Kenny Stills. He is what he is. You look at the game log, he's been awful. He's a guy that deep threats, he can connect, and he's at home. I don't really love the spot. Tre'Davious White is a good player. Bills defense isn't horrible. I prefer the Bills at home when I mention that, but if you want a dart throw, sure, he's sub 4K, but I see no reason to make it a priority.
They're hurting too, so like he could be the focal point of the defense because Amendola is likely to miss. Parker is just popped up as questionable, so like I mean, there's a real chance it's like Kenny Stills and Leonte Carew that they're running out there is like their
Grant's gone.
Like, Grant's gone. Wilson's gone. Like they're out a lot of weapons. So
Kenyon Drake season.
And Ryan Tannehill sucks. Like he's been awful this year. Like that needs to be remembered. So that said, Brock Osweiler wants him $1 million. So what the hell do I know? I think that just about does it for me for wide receiver. Tight end.
Okay. You got obviously Travis Kelce. He's the most expensive, as he should be. I'm more prone to work kind of in the Njoku, Greg Olsen, low fours. I think those guys, you can pair them up if you have those I'm going to use some Cam to Olsen. I think that's somewhat sneaky. He's a red zone target. Other than that, though, tight end is pretty ugly this week. I could see Jonnu being popular, and I am not going to play him.
No, that guy gets 2 targets a game.
I cannot, and I really hope people play him.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think Kittle's in a reasonable place. He's not crazy expensive. He should have a fair amount of workload. Jared Cook at 4,700 is nice. Again, they're going to get blown out, but it's like the Richard, like Cook and Richard could pick up, 8, 10 targets apiece as they're getting killed, and Derek Carr just refuses to throw the ball more than 3 yards down the field. Except to your boy Aitman, probably.
I was going to say, don't sleep on Marcel.
Yeah.
Cook, obviously.
Cook is like where I've sort of leaned for like first run at cash. Like it's ugly. Tight ends it's been a pit this year, dude. The one other guy that you could do if you're like totally dumpster diving, I don't really like it, but he's stone in $2,500 is Matt Izod. Lacoste for Denver. He's like Jeff Hireman's out. Whatever. He'll get 5 targets for $2,500. It's not pretty, but you can do it. He's projecting for like 7.5 points and showing up in optimals on Cruncher.
My other guy, he's certainly not a dumpster dive. I'm going to have some Austin Hooper, and that's just because I'm way higher on Atlanta than everybody else. His targets they fluctuate wildly week in, week out, but sub 4K, if he can return 11, I'll live with that in an ugly week. Because if you don't go get Travis Kelce, I venture to say there might be not another tight end on the slate that goes over 15 to 20 points. Like, there's just not that much there.
No, it's really bad. Gronk is only 5,400. Minnesota's very tough, but I don't know. I'm a little over. I don't know. I'm not.
I had Gronk last week.
Yeah, I did too.
I thought it was super sneaky, and it was fine.
He was still like 9 or 10% owned though. Like it wasn't it wasn't as sneaky as you would think, but yeah, he was fine. I'm kind of with you. I don't think he was just fine, and I'm not sure the crazy upside is there because I think his upside is 5 for 70 and a touchdown. Like he's just not going to get massive volume. That said, tight end is so ugly that like 5 for 70 and a touchdown could be the nuts.
Yeah. One other guy, and chat's talking about him, Cameron Brate. Listen, I think most people, especially on our network of shows, were kind of, I know me and Lofty were opposed to him last week. You saw everything about him. He caught a touchdown immediately. He had 4 targets.
Yeah. Jameis hates him. I'm just kidding.
You're going to need to make the most of your targets. So if you want to try to return 11 again, I get it. I would rather play Hooper, just personal preference.
And you don't like Austin Hooper, so that's
I'm
saying
not an
something.
Austin Hooper fan. And I get it with Brait. He is a guy. He scored last week with Djax out. It's another guy. I may have some, but I think the risk, and people saw it last week. The risk is there with that guy. He doesn't find the end zone. He easily can give you 3 catches for 22 yards.
Yep. I kind of like Ebron, monster touchdown catcher. I don't know how popular he's going to be. He's 4,200.
Dear God.
Yeah, I hate Eric Ebron. I never get him right, and I've missed.
No one
I've
right.
Yeah, no one exactly. There's been plenty of times where I've not touched him, and he's scored a lot.
Multiple touchdowns.
Yeah.
All the years I played him on the Lions, never. I don't know what to do with that situation because obviously now with Doyle, he's going to slide in. I have a gut feeling, and this is just typical Ebron, where it actually is a detriment to him. And like Mo Alley Cox now assumes the red zone role or something. Out. Okay. With Swoops there. Who's left for their tight ends? Is it just Ebron? Dear God.
Yeah, I don't know. No, they signed Clive Walford, right?
My God. Mo Alley Cox out. Jack Doyle, IR. Ryan Hewitt, questionable. Don't know who that is. Eric Swoop, questionable. Eric Ebron, fully healthy. Like the chance. Yep.
Yeah, we may be seeing some Ebron chalk week, but the Jags are another like Atlanta, Jacksonville, Seattle. It's all the same cover 3 coaching tree. Like you can throw to running backs, you can throw to tight ends a little bit too. It's like the underneath guy. What stops that and why Seattle was not as much like that, but a little bit were. Is that they had Cam Chancellor. If you've got that like absolutely elite strong safety kind of in the middle, like Deion Jones did that for Atlanta for a while. If you've got one of those guys, like you can stop it a little bit, but I don't know. Ebron's target area is not unbeatable.
So just to change courses really quickly, about 20 minutes ago in chat, I forget the name and I didn't scroll up, so apologies. Someone was saying Hunt suspended, question mark. Not even know what they were talking about. So it apparently just broke. It looks like he has some, I don't get the full story, so forgive me if I'm wrong. It looks like there's a video of him in a physical altercation with a woman. So obviously if he gets suspended, we'll talk about this on Sunday. Spencer Ware, someone will pick up that slack and that will make them a great play this week and there will be monster chalk. I have no idea if this is, will he get suspended for this? No clue. It literally just went to Roto World and just saw the little blurb. So I think we'll all know the news. That'll be.
Oh, he's not playing.
Okay. So not good.
There's video of him lunging at the woman and kicking her while on the ground.
Well, yeah. So he hopefully, rightfully so, should be suspended if that's in fact what happened. Well, obviously the news will break. It'll be everywhere. I'm sure Twitter's blowing up as we speak. But thanks for chat. Appreciate that, dropping that in there. I didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, that's terrible. From a DFS perspective, it makes Ware a really good cheap option that will mess everything up because
he will be a cash lock. He will be incredibly highly owned. We'll talk about obviously we're only talking from a DFS perspective. It will be it will change the slate, and we'll react to that obviously in Slack on this show Sunday morning. Of course, we'll know if he's active or not, and me and Lofty will be happy to discuss.
Yes. Check back for that.
For sure.
Okay, want to hit defense? We got a time constraint for once today, so we gotta bang this up.
I think defense is pretty wide open. I went for a more aggressive approach in my first run, and it's with the Texans. Baker was not touched last week. Everyone's riding high. Baker is still Baker in the sense of I think he's very turnover prone. He takes chances. He's going to take sacks. They will get pressure at home. I'm not worried about that. And they're 2,700. I don't think they'll be popular, especially just after what we saw the Browns do. It works both ways. I think the Browns could have some success in terms of points, and the Texans defense can still be a very good play.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. JJ is certainly a hell of a pass rusher, and that's a nice price tag. The Chiefs, I think the Chiefs are going to be probably the biggest chalk. for good reason. They're $2,500. Like, I'm doing that in cash. I'm doing that in cash. Like, the Chiefs are not a good defense, but Derek Carr is really bad. And he's gone from, like, bad in the sense of, like, he was a bad real-life quarterback because he was unwilling to throw the ball downfield to, like, now he's just straight up bad and, like, turning the ball over and stuff. And the Chiefs' defense has been, you know, coming into the season, it was like, wow, they are, like, legitimately potentially the worst defense in football. And, like, they're fine now. They've been, you know, the guys on the line have been pretty good. I forget the one dude's name who's been horrible for, like, 3 years and is having, like, a career year, one of the linemen. But
Eric Fisher?
No, defensive line.
Oh.
Yeah, fun fact, Eric Fisher, first overall pick. That's
from
like
Central Michigan.
Like 4 years ago. That's so weird. Yeah.
Like a random back lineman.
Yeah.
And that's just a shout out. Yeah, real quick. Great Barcia. That was the person. I appreciate that. You know, that's Ed. Oh, wow. What? We're ending the show soon, but Michael from the top rope. Don't hate on Josh Allen. Just give him a chance. Like, just no respect. If he had that team, now we're seeing Baker with weapons.
He sucks.
Yeah. We'll see. Baker could be good. I'm not ruling that out.
Yeah.
But
no, Baker's looked pretty all right. I think Baker still goes first overall if they redo the draft tomorrow.
I do too, but we'll wait and see. He has the team that's most ready to win, and that's, you know, they're in a different spot. I wouldn't compare Rosen, Darnold, or Josh Allen to what Baker has. They're just
because they had the great Sashi, rest in peace, got him
True.
a million draft picks, and they have a bunch of good players for really cheap.
Yeah,
good strategy for rebuilding. You know what I think is kind of sneaky? I think it's very sneaky, actually, because this game is going to be the one that everyone targets, is the Panthers. Panthers are not a great defense, but you know who sucks is Jameis Winston.
Yeah, you can, and that's not. I know I can speak for you here. That doesn't mean that you won't have Bucks exposure.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have a ton of Bucks stacks.
But I'm not opposed to that. You know, people, especially if you're playing limited lineups, you just can't. You don't really think about it like that because you're like, well, I like these offenses. I'm not even going to consider using some defense on them. And you can 2,500. I like that more than the Chiefs personally.
They might be 2% owned too.
That's what I'm saying. In a vacuum, it's a pretty good spot. Obviously, if you have the money, I think we would both agree Seattle is priced where they should be. They're going to cause Mullins some problems on the road, but I'll probably try to take some savings just because we'll see. We'll see with the Spencer Ware. This is going to change the entire slate.
Yes. There's a lot of cheap defenses this week. I don't mind the Rams. Matt Stafford is, you know, he's whatever. I like the guy. I love the way he looks. You know, he looks good in the uniform. Throws a hell of a ball. You know, one of the best. I mean, he's one of the best arms in the league. Makes a lot of mistakes, and
can confirm.
Aaron Donald is unstoppable. Aaron Donald scored caused the Rams by himself basically caused the Rams to score 22 fantasy points against the Chiefs when the Chiefs scored 51 points. Like.
No,
he does stuff, and now they have Talib back, who is a bit of a ball hawk. Like, you know, or even just it's more like just having Talib back and having him be an adult in the room allows Marcus Peters to do crazy Marcus Peters shit, and he is the real like playmaker ball hawk. Gives everyone a bit more of a chance. It's just one more guy, and whatever. It's just Donald. I mean, if they were all out, you could take them all out. I'd still be interested in Aaron Donald against that offensive line with Matthew Stafford's like stupid tendencies sometimes.
No, I think it's certainly something you can look to. Like I said, I'm definitely on the Texans more than them. They're in a similar price range, but we have a lot of matchups here with not even it's not even good defense. It's just turnover prone quarterbacks who are going to be forced to throw. Stafford fits that bill. Like if the Rams get up, they're going to tee off on him, and you know, you just got to hope to get lucky and get a pick six, and that could definitely happen.
Packers as well.
Yep, similar.
At home against Rosen, bad offensive line. Mike Daniels, I think, went to IR, who's their like best pass rusher. But you know, the Packers have a lot of young, sort of ball hawking, like, you know, gambling, not lockdown corners, but they have some real athletes in that secondary. So good chance at a pick six there as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna. It's just all you can do is game script wise. The Cardinals are going to be throwing. You would say virtually certainly late in that game, and that's going to give you the best opportunity to get something fluky like that. Obviously, can't really predict it, but that's you don't want a team that's in a dogfight or running the clock out. Like that doesn't seem useful.
Oh, I don't know how we didn't get into this actually. We missed all of them on every single spot, but Packers offense stacks totally in play too. I like Rodgers, Jones, and Devontae Adams. They're all in good spots. They all project well, and we didn't talk about any of them.
I talked about Devontae Adams. That was where you said, what did you say? And then I just changed what I said a little bit. But yeah, Devontae Adams is a guy. I said he's going to see Patrick Peterson. I don't worry about that. He's peppered with targets regardless. And it's not even a get right spot. It's simple. They have to run the table. This should be the easiest of that. The Packers need to handle their business. Rodgers, we talk about this all the time. I don't think I'm there just because this is the type of game where he's a better real life quarterback than fantasy quarterback.
Probably. It comes down to does Rodgers throw 36 times? If he does, he's a great play, but the odds are, I don't know. That's about what he's projecting at for what it's worth, but there's a real good chance they blow him out. So
yeah, I'm more on that train where he's not forced. If it stays close, boy, is it a good spot for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
That'll do it for NFL main slate for me, sir.
All right. Real quick, as we always say, if you could just hit the like button.
Also,
what?
What else should they do?
Subscribe.
Nope. I mean,
Christmas.
Yes. Yeah, it's almost Christmas. We're giving away Osmo, right? Whatever you want them to comment, we would like you to comment if you like the thing, and then on the not the YouTube. I think you actually have to comment on the YouTube video.
The video itself.
Yeah, so not in the chat because
usually where people rip us, that's the spot where the comments where it's like, get these two idiots off the air.
Yeah, what a fish take like on Monday morning. Like I can't believe that. Yeah,
that's where we need you to put your Super Bowl prediction, and you'll be in the running for something.
Yeah, because we don't have like this chat that we're all talking in does not like our bosses don't see that. It doesn't. Yes, it doesn't save. Better. Well said. Gooder pudding.
Yikes! It's coming. We're falling apart here late. Anything else? It's a big slate. 13 games is a lot. That's why obviously, if for the follow-up news, check us out Sunday morning. We will have more nuanced and updated stuff. But conference championships tomorrow for college.
Yeah, man. Tough DFS slate though, right?
It is, and that's because it's not the best, like Northwestern, not that I'm ripping them. They're playing them in Ohio State. You got Bama, Georgia.
That's a real school. Like, I can't imagine they have a ton of awesome athletes there.
They're scrappy. Very scrappy. You have a couple makeup games in there, like Marshall and Virginia Tech are playing because of, I believe that game is canceled because of Hurricane Florence. Oklahoma and Texas is going to be the game people target. Kyler Murray, Hollywood Brown, same story. We talked early. Ricky was asking us about Oklahoma's defense. They're atrocious. Target Texas.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were.
I was pointing at Michael Signs saying he's with me about shit show for the staph infection.
He gets it.
Yeah, down. Yeah. Although me just randomly pointing doesn't really show that. So now I'm explaining it.
It makes more sense now. As always. If you have questions on the college front, hit me up in chat, hit me up in Slack, Twitter, whatever. I haven't built yet. I'm not playing too much on this. I'm more betting the games. So we will do that. I did talk a little betting earlier in the day, and we're going to be rolling out more content on that side too, so stay tuned.
Absolutely. And if you could do me a favor, buddy, this weekend, maybe drop one Michelin star from your eating out plans. Go to a 2-star instead of a 3-star, so you can buy the PlayStation 4, so that we can kick each other's asses in Red Dead Redemption.
So much to do. Well, after I win this Millie,
or just eat at the Michelin star.
The Millie. Yeah. So
doesn't matter if we win the Millie.
Can't hurt.
No. All right. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Thanks everyone for checking in with us. Appreciate it. If you could like and pick your Super Bowl match, guys, on YouTube. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yikes. It's a Friday for sure.
It is Friday. I'm going to go update some NBA projections. I'm going to look at your boy Marcel Aitman.
Don't sleep.
See what happens. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Take care.